All right, so we need to move on now. We're going into our next presentation. We have Helen Denver here. Who is it? Denya, sorry, my apologies. Helen Denya here, and she's going to speak to us with respect to African Science Academy, ASA. So
hello everybody, good afternoon, and thank you very much for inviting me and giving me a slot on the agenda. I'm very privileged to be here and talk to you about African Science Academy. Before I start, just a little bit about me. So I actually moved to Ghana in 2015 with African Gift Foundation, who are the foundation that started African Science Academy, and I was their project manager in helping to set up the school, and then I worked there for 2 years as the finance and admin manager. So I've already met Wole who came to see the school in Ghana, which has been great, and I moved back to the UK in August, and I just started a master's in global health and development. So it was hard to leave, but I'm still involved. So I'm actually now on the board for the Direct Index in Ghana. So I'm still very much involved. That's why I'm here today to speak to you. So I wanted to start off by giving you an overview about African Science Academy. But I also wanted you to feel free to ask questions as I go along. And also, for maybe at the end, I have some questions for you as well, some things I'd like to know about, maybe getting some more students from Nigeria specifically. So African Science Academy is an all-girls school, and it's a pre-university, and we accept girls from across Africa, as long as they've been taught in English before, so they have to have good English. And we're specialized in science, so specifically STEM, and students come to us for 1 year, so it's a 10-month program, and they do the Cambridge International A-levels in maths, further maths, and physics. So it's very, very intense. So that's why we are looking for exceptionally gifted students with a passion for science, and not just anybody, so we're very selective. And because it's run by a charity, we do offer full scholarships. So we have kind of a form that students fill out, and then we also do home visits, and they have to supply supporting documents. But depending on need, we offer scholarships. So these can be full scholarships or partial scholarships. But so far, all students have been on full scholarships. They've only contributed to things like exam fees and uniform, things like that. So just to show how it kind of fits into the education system. So it depends a little bit where students come from, because some countries, for example Zimbabwe, they do O-levels, so then they come to us after O-levels. But then West African countries like Ghana, Nigeria and so on, they do the WASI exams, so they finish senior high school, and then they come to us for 1 year before then going on to university. So we try and prepare them for university. And we were quite lucky to meet the president of Ghana on a trip that we did, and our girls were very excited. So just a little bit about our history and where this comes from. So I mentioned the African Gifted Foundation, and they're a charity in the UK, and they actually started in 2011, and they run summer schools. So they ran 2 in Uganda and 2 in Ghana, and this was for boys and girls. And they came for the summer holidays and came together and did things like problem solving and kind of trying to stretch them beyond what they would normally do at school. But it was only a summer program. So the students were saying, okay, they were going back home and going back to the same school systems, and they didn't have a qualification at the end of it. So that's where the idea for a school came from. And the idea of it being an all-girls school was because there's still a problem worldwide about getting women into science subjects, especially the kind of engineering, computer science, rather than the medical side. So we don't do biology or chemistry. So that's why we don't really prepare students to go on and become doctors, for example. So we actually officially launched in August 2016. Or well, actually August 2016 the school opened, and then the launch, the celebration and so on, was in February 2017. So here's a little bit about where our students are from. Okay, the part is cut off there, but that's fine. So we have around 24 students a year. As you can see, we have quite a wide spread but at the moment around 68% of our students are from Ghana. So there's still a wide variety of where they're from in Ghana. So we have students from north, south, west, everywhere in Ghana. But we would like to be more diverse. So the first 2 years of operation, we only had 1 student per year from Nigeria. Now this year, that's just, well, it started in August, we have 4 students from Nigeria. But in general, we'd love to have a widespread, so more students from Nigeria, but also from the other countries. So we are also hoping to expand in the future. So we're a little bit, well, we have a small space at the moment, but we'd love to build our own space where we can then expand as well. I put this picture here because it shows our founder, Tommy Lube, and I think some of you might be familiar with him because I think he came to speak at something as well. He's obviously really involved. That's why I put the history thing, because it's really important for us to not forget his vision, because it was his vision at the beginning. And that vision is to be the leading maths, science and technology academy in Africa for gifted young women. And you see our values here, and we take them very seriously. So we do a lot to try and embed these values in our students and also just in everything that we do. So we try and be different to maybe the schools that they've come from, because we really think it's important to prepare them for when they go to university, especially if they're doing science, engineering type subjects. They have to do a lot of practicals, lab work as part of their course. So we have quite a lot of equipment, and we have practical lessons, and that's actually also examined. So you will know from the A levels here also you have labs that are examined. And then we also try and give them holistic experience, so they can, if there's opportunities, for example here, African Women in Technology Conference, our students spoke at the conference, and they also do community service, extracurricular activities, and we try and get people in to speak to them as well, so as guest speakers, volunteers, and so on. So you see here, community service is something that's really, really big for us. Because our students mainly come on scholarships, we do expect them to give back to their local communities, and so we do that in various ways. So first of all, each week our students teach at a local primary and junior high school, and they teach maths and science subjects. But that's kind of in the curriculum. But apart from that, there's a charity called Reading Spots, who I'm actually also involved with, but separately. But they gave 4 of our students last year grants to start projects in their own communities. So they had to write a proposal and kind of a budget and apply for the grant. So it's £1,000 for them to go and do something in their community. And so we have, I put 3 up here. So Gertrude, who started a library in her community, Nimatu started a library, and then Clarice is actually from Kenya, and she went back and she'd already started collecting books and so on, so it was actually her idea of starting a library anyway, and then she was able to receive the funding to do so. And then there's a 4th student, I don't have that up on here, but she's from Sierra Leone, and she ran like a summer science camp for girls in Sierra Leone in Freetown. So that's really important for us, that we don't just say, okay, in the future, give back. But why don't you give back now? There's things that they can contribute now. Because we do select students from disadvantaged backgrounds, but actually they're very privileged to be at the school and have that opportunity. And there's other girls and people around the world who don't. So that's the idea behind it. So I told you in general about ASA, so I just wanted to give you a quick idea of numbers in case that's what you like, because different people take in different information, but basically this is from our first cohort, and that should be on the left. That's 40% received full scholarships for university. So you'll see this is the first cohort, and then in a moment I'll show you the second cohort, and that's already improved. And then we also won awards for the British Council for Best Maths and Best Further Maths Student. So we could have had the third one, which was physics, which we didn't get, but we're aiming for that in the future. So this is the second cohort. So you'll see that first of all the grades have improved, so we've learned from the first year, but then also we had 95% receiving scholarships to go to university. So that's a huge jump from before, because I think at first people didn't know, can we trust the predicted grades, and they don't know anything about the school. So we're really proud about that achievement.
Where are all those universities?
Yes, so great that you asked. So this is just for the cohort that just left. So we had a student who got a scholarship to go to African Leadership University in Rwanda. So that was a great privilege because they don't normally offer scholarships, but it was Nelson Mandela's 100th birthday, I believe. So they had one-off scholarships for 100 students, and one of our students gained that scholarship. Then we also have, so we do have some students who can afford to go to local universities, so we have somebody at Egon, but for the scholarships, there's Minerva University in the US, and basically it's quite a new university, and they're about global learning, so they kind of have campuses across the world. So you start off in San Francisco, but then you might go to South Korea. So we had a student who also went in the first cohort, and she's now in South Korea, but she started in US, and then you go to places like London, India. They have campuses around the world. Then we have a link with Academic City, which is also a new university in Ghana, and they are kind of growing, but they have a specific focus on science. So we have 5 of our students on full scholarships there. And then University of Edinburgh is a big place where we send a lot of us, well, in comparison, because we only have 24 students, so it is a lot of our students. So last year, 5 students got full scholarships for Edinburgh University. So Edinburgh, they have a link with the MasterCard Foundation. So that's how they get the funding. And so our students are there. And we had from the first cohort 3 of our students. So in total, there are 8 of our students that are at Edinburgh at the moment. And then Ashesi University, I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's in Ghana, and it's, I would say, one of the best universities probably in Africa, but definitely in Ghana. They have a link with MasterCard as well, but they also offer other scholarships, so we have quite a number of students there. So 8 from the cohort that just graduated, and then others from the cohort before, but I don't remember the exact numbers. So these are kind of the main destinations. But we're really keen to explore other destinations as well, and they don't have to be abroad. We're very keen as a first student to go to university in Africa. I think the big thing is getting funding for undergrad. So we have 100% of our students get offers, but not everybody gets funding. And you know, from the UK, undergrad, trying to get funding at undergrad is basically impossible. So we're really privileged about Edinburgh and that they offer that. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about our students. Okay, I see 2 of the boxes haven't appeared, but that's fine. So in the top left, we have Gertrude. And Gertrude was part of the second cohort, and she's Ghanaian. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the impact of ASA, because when she came, she was already very confident, but I think she wasn't yet 100% sure what she wanted to do and how she wanted to do it, so she was very keen to come to us for 1 year. And she's one of the ones who got the grant to start a library in her own community, but she's also one who got a scholarship for Academic City. And Academic City, as I said, is a new university. And they picked her out as being somebody who was very good in the interview. So when they then had a big event, which was their stakeholder event, and they were talking about the university, they picked Gertrude as a student to present on herself and what she was hoping from the university. And then we have Wendy. So Wendy's the student who was got the scholarship for ALU in Rwanda. So that was amazing. And then we have Ibukum at the top, and then bottom right is Aisha. So those are the 2 students that we've had so far from Nigeria. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit more about, oh, I see, now it's come, about them, because I thought obviously that's more relevant and their paths. So I start with Aisha. So Aisha, yes, exactly. So Aisha was from Sokoto, and she was at the federal government Sokoto. Exactly. And I remember even from the interview, because she was extremely passionate, and she'd done all her research, and she'd watched all the videos from the launch, which actually Wole took, and they were on YouTube. So that's how she kind of found out more about us. So that was really funny. And but she was so certain she wanted to do architecture. And we, as I said, normally just get girls who want to do STEM subjects, and architecture doesn't really fall into that, even though you have to be good at maths. But she scored one of the highest scores on our entrance exam. She was very driven. And so we still took her because we thought somebody like this, we can't let her go. And so she came and she got involved with absolutely everything. So we were actually filmed by CNN, and she put herself forward to write a poem and present the poem, and so that was amazing. And then she also was elected a prefect, so she was our media prefect, and she got involved with everything else. So she ran extracurricular activities. She was obviously very creative, so she did arts and crafts, extracurricular activities. And then because she was doing so well academically, being involved in the community and so on, we actually nominated her for Edinburgh. So you can nominate up to 3 students for the MasterCard Foundation Scholarship at Edinburgh. But they can take more than 3, which they've done. But she was one of the 3 we actually nominated for architecture. And that was a big challenge because then she had to do a portfolio. And we were struggling with that because we don't have the expertise and so on. But she was really driven, and we were able to link up with another school where she could go and use their facilities, and the arts teacher showed us some other portfolios that people had done, and this was all kind of her. She said, let's do this, and I was driving with a taxi to the other school because we're in Tema and the school was in Accra, and we were driving there and so on. But they accepted the portfolio. She got a conditional offer. And then she received her results, and she got 2 A's and an A star. And she's now at Edinburgh. And she's thriving. So I think she struggled at first a little bit, obviously everybody would. But now she's settled again. And I was amazed to see on Facebook that there was a video of her reciting the poem that she'd adapted from the original poem she did at a Black History Month event at Edinburgh. And that was really amazing to see, yes. So she's kept her confidence and kept her drive, and we're really proud of her. So I think she's somebody to watch. And then the other person is Ibukun. So Ibukun joined us in the first cohort. And I mean, we must already say that all the students who joined us in the first cohort were really risk takers because they're joining a new school. I mean, we didn't really have much. I remember we did an open day for the Ghanaian students, and at that point the building was still empty. So they had a huge amount of trust in us. And Ibukun is, she's from Ugon State. We
know what you mean.
I tried, yes. Yeah. I didn't even want to say her full name.
My daughter is called that name.
So anyway, and she became our head girl in the first year. So she was very much involved in kind of the shaping of the student experience at ASA. And she spoke at our launch, and it was very impressive. And we had the High Commissioner from Nigeria there, and she was then talking to her afterwards, because she was very impressed. So that was amazing. And she was also extremely strong academically.